Very good, amphibians. And some of our questions you may all call out, answer just like that. And I will have a couple questions where I'll ask you to raise your hand and maybe win some bonus prizes. So when we are thinking of reptiles and amphibians, they're sort of like cousins. Are they the exact same family? About them together today. We're going to be meeting all 4 reptile families and maybe some amphibians. Now, when we're thinking of reptiles and amphibians, which ones are the noisiest? Which ones do the most talking, reptiles or amphibians? Take a look in the turtle garden, and if I happen to find some toads hopping around, I do bring them to the program. Do you think I put them in a cage when I get home? Nope, I let them go in the wild again in our turtle garden right behind the reptile room. Now, these guys are called the American toads. They make this sound again. And what happens every spring, usually around April, we get the reptiles. Are you guys ready to meet the reptiles now? Well, let me start with my first reptile. It's crawling around my shirt. This is a turtle. Wait, this is not a turtle? You're right, this is a snake. What do we know about snakes? Are there some facts, some fun facts we know about snakes that you'd like to share? Raise your hand if you know. And that's the important rule to remember with snakes and any wildlife, really. So that's true. That's a good thing about snakes. What else do we know about snakes? Oh, that's right. Snakes shed their skin. And how many pieces do they usually shed their skin? One long piece. Would that be kind of weird if we did that? Imagine that you could shed your skin in one long piece and say, hey, look, this is a salamander. Boy, that's kind of hard to tell. Geckos and salamanders look very similar, but when we are thinking of geckos, we know they have dry skin, they have claws, something that starts with the letter B, rhymes with hugs. They eat a lot of bugs. Do any of you guys eat bugs? If you don't like that, say ew. But of course, it's important being a gecko. You do all that stuff that needs done in the environment, like eating cockroaches. Who's our first nose licker we can find in this audience? Do we have any nose lickers yet? Oh, lots of people trying. Good participation. I would be surprised if we don't have one nose licker in the whole audience. Can you find one anywhere? Oh, we have one? Can you do it? Can you show everyone? Oh, she's right at the edge of it, almost there. Can you do it? You want to give it a try?
It's like right here.
Wow, she's almost there. That's thinking, uh-oh, just look with your eyes, not with your hands. When we're thinking of a hognose snake, or when we're thinking of identifying any snake in the wild, uh-oh, are we going to get really close to a snake in the wild and look at it? Would you guys like to try that? All right, let's see, who's our best hognose snake in this audience? Everyone, roll over on your backs, right where you're at. Roll over on your backs, let your tongues fall out. Oh, this is good. Yeah, this looks excellent, guys. You are some very good hognose snakes. If you guys are not full-time kids, I think you could be full-time hognose snakes. All right, give our hognose snakes a round of applause. Good job, guys. Everyone did a good job. Pennsylvania has about 14 different turtle species. How many of you guys think this is a baby turtle? Raise your hand. Who thinks this is a grown-up turtle? Raise your hand. This is an adult, a full-grown spotted. He's about the size of a snapping turtle. Is he a snapper? He's not a snapper. He is an African tortoise. Now, I'm just going to put down a little bit of food for him. He may eat some breakfast, or he may not quite be awake yet. Did you have a question about Abraham? About French fry?
I saw a turtle that big before. I saw one just like
Oh, you did see one?
Well,
that's a good story, guys, but try to think if you have questions that start with what or why or how.
I think that he should be named the pig-nosed turtle because he has a little pig-nosed tail.
Oh, you think he has a little pig-nosed? Well, what would be a good guess? But snakes are carnivores, not carnivores. And if they're carnivores, we know they eat other animals. What is a furry animal with a long tail you can find in a cornfield? A mouse or a rat. That's it. As you can see, while I bring her around, I need to have protective gloves because what does she have on the end? What does she have on the end of each toe? Very sharp claws. And she uses those claws to have such a good grip while she's sitting here perched to my arm. And Raiden, have you held snakes before? Oh, he touched one but hasn't held one. Okay, very good. And what hand do you usually write with in school, Raiden? Your right hand? All right, you better use your left hand in case something goes wrong. I'm just kidding you. Nothing ever goes wrong. You may use both hands. There you go. And you can just, if you put out your hands like branches, look at this. She'll just rest right in your hand. Sometimes that tail is going to wrap around If the tail finds a good place to wrap around, sometimes it will wrap right around your arm. Look at up. You want to show everyone your arm how you're getting a snake bracelet? Look at that. Sometimes you get a snake bracelet. This is really great, parents. If you want to keep your kids on a leash, you just hold on to the head end of the snake, and then you can take your child around. Well, one thing I like to show you guys with our volunteer, some people say snakes are slimy. What game is Condoleezza playing with us? She is playing hide and seek. And this is a really tricky game with Condoleezza goes in here. I know she is going all over the place. But sometimes, if we're lucky, sometimes she does find her own. And I will take...
These are the legs of alligator. You said you don't want to count an alligator.
Alligator or crocodile is what I meant to say. So let's take a look in here, and we're going to do an experiment. Going to get him to open up one more time, and we're going to see what would happen. What would happen if we would reach into his mouth? Ready? He actually has a part-time job. This is called... I know, that is an amazing reptile, isn't it? This is called an albino Burmese python. One of the very largest species of snakes in the world. Do you think he's the biggest? He is still growing. He's only about 50 pounds right now. Do you know how many times bigger he would need to be if he wanted to be green anaconda size? Count with me. Ready? 1, 2.
There you go. Very good. Soft and gentle. Good job. Good job. There you go. Good job. Soft and gentle. Good job.
We have a long line of children waiting to touch a snake. Jesse Rothacker from Forgotten Friends Reptile was here today. Always a wonderful program. We had a great time with him. And if you've never had a chance to see a presentation, I would encourage you. You can visit them online as well.